velocissimo, però mi sta facendo perdere la pazienza in un modo assurdo. Allora, perdonate di nuovo l'interruzione. Torniamo ora sul gioco. Vediamo che va tutto bene. Ce la possiamo fare? Ok. Voilà, eccoci. Ci siamo. No, dicevo, la foto era carina, sì, e poi, vabbè, la scritta, che uno dovrebbe andarsi a prendere l'alfabeto di Genshin e capire che cappero c'è scritto, insomma. Poi è carina sta foto, mi piace tanto. Ok, ci siamo. Andiamo a ritirare le ricompense, che me le ha contate tutte, giornaliere.
Add Astra. Thank you for complete.
Poi vabbè, ci serve da fare anche il pass battaglia.
Add Astra.
Tanto dopo Chlorind non ci sono altre story quest, quindi via di nuovo. Perfetto. A posto. Favole della buonanotte. Ho anche un desiderio. Poi c'è missione storia non completata. Beh, questa è quella di Chlorind. Ok, andiamo. Sì, lo so. Sì, sblocca. Grazie. Ok. Accetta missione. Attività modalità focalizzata. Notte silenziata. Focalizzata per godere al meglio la missione. No, vabbè, tanto io sono a posto. Allora, notte silenziosa, capitolo della rapperia, atto 1, giorno del giudizio. Ok. Ovviamente, a Fontaine. Rieccoci, stiamo andando a Fontaine.
Do you also see Navia and Clorand over there? They look like they might have run into some kind of trouble. Let's go check out what's going on.
Sono così tranquilla.
Still no dice?
Not at all. And I've asked pretty much everyone in the court of Fontaine already. Lynette's ears drooped as soon as she heard that we'd have to be out and about for days on end. And Fremine, he hid himself under his helmet as soon as he realized there'd be people around that he didn't know.
What about Chiori and Charlotte? I feel like both of them would be more than up to it.
I've asked them already, but they're both pretty busy right now. I just gave the members of the Spina a few days off, too, so I don't want to bother them either.
This is getting pretty difficult.
Navia, Clorand, what's up?
È vero.
Oh, my.
Come butta.
Well, if it isn't my
È vero.
dear partners.
Si vede.
How are you all doing?
Huh. Navia?
Huh? Oh, you mean...
Yep, this is our chance.
Cosa state tramando? Passavamo di qui per caso?
Do you need our help with something?
E quando mai, Paimon? Te lo chiedi
Oh,
anche?
precisely. My dear partners, we've got a huge problem right now.
Whoa, for real?
Absolutely. We've already exhausted all our other options.
Che tipo di problema? Raccontami tutto.
Traveler, Paimon, would you join us and play Marechaussee Hunter Judgment Day?
Come giocare?
Marechaussee what now?
It's a new game script by the Tabletop Troupe, a local roleplay adventure club.
Ever heard of the Tabletop Troupe? They put out games that allow you to participate in a story and roleplay characters with your friends. Oh, I've loved their stuff ever since I was a kid.
That sounds super interesting.
Pensavo chissà quale
Clorand
missione.
and I are both veteran members of the club. Recently, someone came up with a new script and was looking for people to help playtest it for them. And when they asked, of course I couldn't refuse. I mean, come on, a brand new script.
Generally speaking, scripts at that level of development have a lot of issues. But I think this one is pretty solid.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. I know I was the one that handed you the script, but some of us haven't read it yet. No spoilers, please.
Anyway, the script calls for a team of 4. Ah, yes. We're missing one final player right now.
Avevi ragione, è un grosso problema.
So,
E poi ma non può fare il
you're
quarto
saying
giocatore,
you'll help
no?
us out? I knew I could count
Sì,
on you,
probabilmente
partner.
Furina.
Paimon and the Traveler are kind of a package deal. Is that okay?
That's not a problem. I'll adjust the pace based on the actual number of players and ensure that everyone has a good time.
Well, Traveler, what do you think? Wanna play? Paimon will follow your lead.
Aiuto sempre gli amici in difficoltà. Conta su di me, sarà un'avventura fantastica.
Well, that solves our problem. You have our thanks.
Woohoo!
Tutto per un
I'll go
giorno, no?
grab the script manager from the
Vabbè,
club
poi
right
figurati
away.
se non succede qualcosa, però.
The script manager? Didn't you just say that you gave Clorand the script?
The club introduced a completely new kind of gameplay for this script. In this iteration, the Game Master's version of the script is incomplete. The script manager provides the next part of the script only after players have completed the current list of objectives. On top of that, in order to increase player immersion, the club has created some of the story's sets and scenes in real life. We'll only know where we should go once the script manager reveals the starting location.
Wow, you're right. Whoever wrote this script really did put in a lot of...
And it's got a real healthy amount of suspense, right? I mean, even the GM doesn't.
I look forward to experiencing it with you all.
Why don't you go meet up with the others first? They should all be waiting at Chioria Boutique. I'll come over with the script manager as soon as I find them.
Sounds good. Remember to always watch where you're going, and don't rush.
You say that like I'm 6 years old or something. Let me think. What kind of character should I play?
I just hope you'll pick up some useful skills this time. Oh, and stop trying to persuade every animal you come across.
Ecco, comincia. Allora, perdonatemi un attimo che devo sentire una cosa. Arriva, Sono
Let's go find
subito
some
da-
treasure.
Prova, si sente, no? No, il vocale del mio capo. Aspetta, sì, forse si sente. Prova. Si sente? Sì, si sente. Ah sì? Alza un po'. Prova. Com'è possibile? Scusatemi, Ah, ok.
Good things come to those who don't wait around. That's what they say anyway. Knowing my luck, the opposite is probably true for me. Oh, ow! Where did that come from? Benny's adventure team, assemble! Or not. Let's go find some treasure. Benny's adventure team, assemble!
An antique's value is in the eye of the beholder.
Exactly. But none of them believed me.
No one's joined me on an adventure in ages. Come on, let's go!
An antique's value is in the eye of the beholder.
Time itself is a silent song.
Oh, ow! Where did that come from?
Exactly. But none of them believed me.
Can we play banker next time?
An antique's value is in the eye of the beholder.
Time itself is a silent song.
Let's go find some treasure.
Eccoci. Sì, eccoci, scusate. Questo è un gioco un po' importante. Buongiorno Sam, buongiorno, buongiorno. Ma non mi lamento, non mi lamento. E tu? Come va? Allora, mi hai detto apri gli oggetti. Dov'è la foto? Qua. E qua, eccola. Leggi. Valla a leggere la cosa.
C'è scritto cosa c'è.
Tra fratelli bisogna andare d'accordo. Ah, vabbè, sarà la scritta. Bella sta foto, mi piace. Con Carivert, che carino.
Io ce l'ho al contrario.
Eh sì, tu hai hater a sinistra e. Bella, bella.
Oh, ow!
Ha fatto un bel regalo, Carivert. Allora, intanto andiamo verso la missione. Speriamo non sia troppo lunga. Certo, soprattutto quelle. Oh, Linei! Ah, è fuori.
Sorry to keep you
Ok,
waiting.
non l'avevo vista. Scusa.
You're back! Huh? And you've got the Traveler and Paimon with.
What a pleasant surprise. I assume you'll be joining us for the game then?
Linny, Farina! Paimon didn't know you were playing too. Are you
È
also
vero,
members
sì,
of the
quindi dovremmo
tabletop
andare in
troupe?
quel dominio dove ci sono i libri, la biblioteca strana. Questo è il gioco?
No.
No, non è
La
questo.
biblioteca strana è quell'evento a Mondstadt, quello è.
Ah, ah, ok, ok.
I'm more of a casual member, if anything. I haven't taken part in many formal club activities. Lynette Fremine and I play something similar at the Hotel Bouffe Tété sometimes, but still, I'm sure it'll be fun being a player for the first time. I'm looking forward to it.
Well, I'm not a member of the club at all. Claran simply woke me up first thing this morning, said there was a good script worth experiencing.
If you're interested, I can give you a referral. That should give you a 40% discount on membership fees.
Perfetto.
I think I'll wait to see how this experience plays out first, especially when it comes to the quality of the script. If it's sufficiently fun.
Do you participate in a lot of tabletop troupe activities,
You could say that. She's actually one of the few senior game masters of the troupe.
Right. I knew about that even when she was still my subordinate.
It's nothing. Really, just a
A
small
me
hobby of
piace il
mine.
cappellino di Clorinda.
Sì, sì, anche a me.
Wow. Paimon's so used to seeing you be all upstanding
Sì,
and
esatto.
intimidating as the
La
champion
Robin Hood,
duelist.
sì.
It's kind of hard to imagine you role-playing with a bunch of friends.
La donna, mi piace il cappello, poi gli uomini guardano la parte più bassa. Ah. Quindi se abbiamo dei problemi con una delle regole, dobbiamo inviarti una richiesta di duello?
Surely you jest. I would never intentionally make things difficult for my players. I maintain a clear boundary between my professional and personal lives. The me you see at court represents the law and order of Fontaine. I put all personal feelings to the side and grant a fair duel to all who seek to defend their honor. But in my personal life, I'm just an ordinary person. Someone who feels anger and sadness.
Well, you say that, but for all the time I've known you, I don't think I've ever seen you cry. I've seen you get angry, sure, but now I'm wondering whether you were actually mad or if...
I was probably in work mode during those times.
Is that so? Well, in any case, I just feel like even in your personal life, you don't get emotional very often.
So you want to see me cry? That might be a little difficult. A show of anger, though, that might be something I could...
No, that's not what I meant.
Sì, alla fine quando la conosci, è una brava persona.
Ah, I'm
Ti
back!
piace anche.
Here, allow me to
Questo
introduce
chi è?
you to the script manager, Mr.
Monsieur
Florian.
Pleasure to meet you all.
Hello. Wait, are you a champion duelist too, Mr. Florian?
Oh, no. This is just the costume provided by the club. I occasionally play a few of the roles in my scripts.
That sounds like a lot of work.
It's nothing. It's the least we can do to give the players a more immersive experience. Anyway, allow me to give you a brief introduction of the script. This script was adapted from the real history of the Marushose hunters. You all will play the role of hunters from a bygone era and resolve a series of events unfolding in the capital.
Paimon's not super familiar with the history of the Marashose hunters. Is that a problem?
Oh, no problem at all. I can give you a brief rundown. So, basically, Marashose hunters were people who dedicated themselves to hunting monsters and protecting the city by using a special swordsmanship technique. Their story can be traced back to the ancient Remurian dynasty, as well as the first hunter, Cat. But I'll leave the finer details for you to seek out and discover later.
And I'll provide additional commentary as the story progresses.
In that case, brave hunters, are you ready to set out on an unknown adventure?
Whoa, just one sentence and it's like we're in the story already.
Aha, I see many a determined gaze before me. Very well, head over to this location and be...
So, as we follow the story, it leads us to specific scenes? Ooh, sounds pretty innovative.
It's the exact location of the
Ha
scene,
gli occhi strani.
as well as the formal permission to use the venue. Huh, seems like they have everything prepared. Please check all your belongings, everyone, and make sure you haven't forgotten anything. Once you're ready, please follow me to the designated location.
Sounds good. Hunter Squad, move out!
Stavolta i dialoghi non sembrano troppo lunghi. Neanche troppo lunghi. Sai che di solito... Ah, ok, ok. Let's go.
Poi che già solo mezz'ora di dialogo.
Bravo.
Benny.
Subito tipo dominio.
No, 213 metri. Si è spostato ancora. No, non mi sembra sottoterra. Mi sembra in superficie. Una corrente? Sì, infatti. Ah, ok. Volevo prenderlo dall'alto. Penso di sì.
Adventure time!
Questo è carino. Ah, carini. Papà e Lorenzo, vedi? No, scherzo, questa sono io. E questo è Lorenzo. Vabbè. Che carino. E questo posto tutto...
Whoa, they really really have thought of everything.
Infatti,
Even the photometer is
Fontaine
here and
c'è.
ready to go for us.
Recitazione, mangiare, divertimento.
The photometer.
It's a card that's used to determine action success
okay.
or failure. We'll need to use it when we try to use certain skills.
And what about all the dessert and tea?
That's what the message said.
Really? That's so nice.
Those snacks have Paimon's name written all over them.
Time.
I think you might be more of a snack hunter than a Marashose hunter.
Snack Hunter Paimon reported for duty. If there are delicious snacks to be found, Paimon will track down every last one.
The desserts are great. But I'm still looking forward to the story more than anything.
Very fair. Then, let us begin. First, please pick up the blank character cards in front of you and write down your name and profession.
Ah, auguri. Ah, bravo, bravo, fai bene, fai bene. Ci sta, ci sta. Auguri allora al fratello che si sposa. Dai, sono contenta. Almeno ti rilassi un po' anche.
You can find an abbreviated version of the rules printed on the back of your character card. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. In this story, everyone is a Marashose hunter. To reflect this, the club has prepared a small badge for everyone.
Ooh, nice.
Carino.
As hunters, you have proficiency in swordsmanship and fighting by default, so there's no need to allocate any additional skill points to those areas.
Swordsmanship? So there's a fighting part to all of this? Paimon's not sure she can do all that on her own.
Why don't you share a character card then? The Traveler will be the Marashose hunter, and you can be her little floating assistant.
Huh. Kinda like in real life.
So, for the name,
È la realtà.
do I fill it out with the name of my character?
Yep. It can be any name you like.
You can use your real name too if you want. I do that whenever I get too lazy to think of a new name.
Oh, so it would be like experiencing a different life.
In that case, I think I'll continue to use the name Linny then.
Next up is the skill sheet. You have a limited amount of skill points that you can use to learn a number of skills. The more points you invest in a particular skill,
I'll take persuasion and investigation. Those are must-haves when it...
Oh, those skills sound like they'd be useful for gathering intelligence. Good idea, Navia. Just as expected of a veteran player.
So, should we also take those skills then?
Not necessarily. Since we're working together as a team, we could leave the negotiations to Navia and use our skill points to pick up other useful skills. For example, I think I'll take stealth and sleight of hand. That will give us more options if we run into any situations we can't negotiate our way out of.
Oh, interesting. I wasn't thinking about it like that. I suppose it's not so different from an acting. Let me see. I'll take arts
Se le
and
prendono apposta
performance.
queste abilità.
I'm not quite sure what
Perché sanno
useful
usare
be,
meglio.
but I'm not as knowledgeable about the other skills, and I'm not too confident.
Well, that leaves us. What do you want to learn, Traveler?
Voglio arte culinaria, voglio medicina, voglio cognizione. Beh, fosse per me arte culinaria. Fosse per
Ha!
me.
Gotta say, this suits you really well. Nothing boosts morale like good food.
Voglio medicina o cognizione?
Ooh, so you want to help people when they're injured. That's nice of you. So what do you think? Are you sure you want to learn these two skills?
Ah, ok. No, io preferivo, non so, cognizione, cosa mi
Sure, what do you
dice?
want to learn? Oh, something that'll help you get a read on other people's thoughts. Sounds useful.
Sì, arte culinaria e
Gotta
cognizione.
say, this suits you really. So what do you think? Are you sure you want to learn these?
Let's see. Oh, looks like you each have enough points to choose one final skill.
You've all picked such classic skills. It's fine to go a little bit out of the box, you know.
Why do I get the feeling she's getting ready to cause trouble?
For example, this one here. Summon. Doesn't it sound super mysterious and cool?
Oh, I saw that one just now as well. The description says, This skill can be used under certain circumstances.
The script's world-building rules, huh? But how...
Oh, that's not for us to worry about, my friend. Just learn the skills that interest you, and the GM will take care of the rest.
Alright, you've convinced Paimon. Let's learn summon then. Paimon can't wait to see what kind of thing shows up.
Well, now that everyone's more or less finished creating their characters, we can begin. Since 2 of our players are doing this for the first time, though, let me ask, would you like to play on easy mode or
Io
authentic mode?
comincerei dal facile, no?
What's the difference between the two?
Well, in role-playing games, the story sometimes changes based on the decisions of the players and the results of the Fatometer. For example, if you fail a check, that means you cannot use the target skill in that scenario. A critical failure may even result in further negative consequences. If you choose to play in authentic mode, every time you elect to use a skill, you'll need to use the Fatometer to see whether you succeed or fail, and face any consequences that may follow. If you choose easy mode instead, every check will be successful by default,
Allora,
and you
facile.
won't have to worry about luck playing a factor.
Allora, le verifiche... successo fallimento. Premi per pescare una carta. Ottenere tra 1 e 20.
Poi se tu giocavi la storia di Lynette lo sapevi già.
Ah, ok. No, io ancora non l'ho giocata quella. Sono indietro.
Given that I'd like to focus on the story, I suppose I should pick easy mode.
Huh? Oh, come on. Don't worry about that. RNG is the lifeblood of role. Never knowing what you might have to overcome. Ugh, doesn't that sound exciting?
I'd rather be mentally prepared.
All right, then I'll mark down Farina for easy mode. All her checks will be successful by default. As
Vabbè,
usual,
loro sono più
Navia and
esperti,
Linny.
dai.
What about you, dear partner? How would you like to
Facile
play?
io.
Are you sure?
Facile. Sì, 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 sì.
No need to worry about the pesky Fatometer. Pretty good choice if you just want to relax and play the game.
Honestly, I don't think Clorand would make things too difficult for us, no matter what the Fatometer says. Isn't that right, Clorand?
No promises.
That wasn't super reassuring.
Well, anyway, enough talk. Let's get started.
Speaking of the story, why is the beginning scene on a beach?
Well, that's because a long time ago, back when human civilization was still in its infancy, powerful demons and evil sorcerers ruled over the land. They created a host of monsters and sent them to slaughter all
Sai
humans in
cosa sembra
existence.
questo gioco? Dungeons and Dragons. Questo sembra, che uno si inventa le storie e poi...
Soon, a group of human rebels banded together. With their swords raised, they swore to brave the darkness, and in doing so, subdue each and every monster that sought their destruction. They became known as the Marashosei Hunters.
Sì, visto il suo cappello.
Ah sì, è vero, il suo cappello. Ah, ok.
Sometime later, as a member of the Marashosei Hunters, you receive a commission. Following the address provided on the message, you take a boat and arrive at this strange city.
È vero, sì.
As you inhale, you can taste the slightly salty air of the docks as you begin to survey your surroundings. There aren't many people in the vicinity, but you do take note of a few others who, like you, your eyes meet. And you realize these people are fellow Marashosei hunters.
You're all Marashosei hunters too, right? Allow me to introduce myself.
infatti.
The name's Navia, monster hunter by trade and helpful neighborhood businesswoman on the side. What say you to traveling together? We can help each other out on the road.
Okay, count me in.
Con il coso coperto.
My name is Linny. I've been wandering since I was little and picked up a few less than legal tricks along the way. I was adopted by a Marashosei hunter and later chose to follow in his footsteps.
Is this where you
È
introduce
vero?
your character
Sì,
to
c'era la
everyone?
borraccia, sì.
It sounds like they've done this dozens of times. My
Vestita
name
da
is
bardo.
Farina, and, I grew up in a noble family. I always had a strong interest in performance and the arts. Even though I'm a Marcia Say hunter.
Hey, that's really cool. You can do it, Farina.
Paimon is Paimon, a good friend and companion to this Mara Shosei hunter right here.
I've been studying the culinary arts since I was a child.
Vestiti da cuoca,
I hope my
giustamente.
delicious food can help boost
Però e
people's
parliamo
spirits.
anche.
That's wonderful. I'll be looking forward to your cooking during our adventures together.
Well, if we're all here for the same commission, why don't we take some time to confirm what we need to do?
You open your envelopes at the same time. The message reads, "To the honorable and trustworthy Marashose hunters, our kingdom is currently facing a grave crisis. The lands outside the capital have been overtaken by monsters, and our people are being led astray by forces of wickedness. We beseech you, please..."
The layout of this city looks super familiar. It kind of reminds Paimon of Mondstadt.
Ah,
The scriptwriter must have used a real-world city
cioè,
as a
qua che si
reference when
svolge
coming up with the
quella
map.
cosa nuova.
Perché dice che era fatto apposta, adesso è apposta.
As experienced hunters, the layout of the city reminds you of places once traveled. You recall the sight of tree-lined streets and the gentle tranquility of days gone by. Yet, as you regard the city in front of you, it appears to be little more than an empty shell.
Vero, il bardo,
Its hollow gates are open to you, beckoning you to come forth and bring salvation back to the town.
I carefully read every line of the letter and turn my attention to the signatures at the bottom.
È vero.
Who issued
vero,
this
vero.
commission to us?
You see a long string of unfamiliar names. It would seem that many of the residents of the city issued this commission together. They sensed that things were not right within the kingdom.
In that case, why don't we take a walk around the city and see if we can learn anything from the local residents?
Good idea.
È vero.
We might be able to get some leads on the monsters and bad guys we're after.
Porta della
You look up
rinascita.
and see a tavern nearby. It appears to be open
Quella
for the
di
day.
Diluc.
Why don't we go check out that tavern? If the novels I've read are anything to go by, taverns
Sì,
are
sì,
usually
sì.
full of information.
Ah, c'è Diluk che fa il ballo.
Che si immaginano Diluc.
Infatti è mostra.
Siamo a Mosler.
As you approach the tavern, you find a plainly dressed woman standing nearby. She appears to be rather troubled about something.
Ma ce lo regalano un vestito medievale poi.
Boh.
Greetings, friend. Lovely weather we're having today, don't you think?
Oh, hello. I suppose you're right. The weather today is quite lovely. If only those monsters out there would stop
It seems like every character included in the script has a certain amount of useful information to offer.
Oh, come now. Don't be sad. Life is all about optimism.
I don't think that's the kind of question we're supposed to ask.
Nothing turns a frown upside down like good food. How about some macarons? I could make
Ma
you
i
some.
cuochi non eravamo noi?
You didn't even take cooking as one of your skill
Appunto.
proficiencies.
That's not necessary, miss. Excuse me for saying this, but you don't really look like a chef.
So you're someone who barely smiles and doesn't like sweets. You're really starting to remind me of this one friend. Hey, did she just... me?
Clorian must have broke character for a second.
This isn't getting us anywhere. Traveler, maybe you can think of something.
Che ne dite di se cucino qualcosa proprio qui e ora, intendo. Voglio usare cognizione per sapere cosa la turba e Melinei un aiutino? Usiamo cognizione.
The results of insight checks aren't disclosed to the players, so I'll be the one consulting the phaetometer.
Ok, a caso.
Tanto vinci sempre, quindi hai scelto tu.
You recall all the lessons you've learned in your time and begin to carefully observe the woman's mannerisms. You notice that when she's quiet, she has an empty look in her eyes, as if her thoughts have drifted to a place far, far away. And when she speaks, she often subconsciously reaches out to touch the ring on her left hand.
È successo qualcosa a tuo marito?
So you noticed. That's a little embarrassing. A horde of monsters suddenly appeared near the capital recently, so all the guards were dispatched to fight them.
Do you remember when those monsters appeared?
I'm not completely sure. All I know is that my husband was...
Do you know where he was sent?
It all happened so fast. When we said our goodbyes, he couldn't even tell me where they were sending him.
You have our thanks, friend. We'll find and defeat those monsters as soon as possible. We sincerely hope your husband will be able...
Thank you. Don't worry. We'll find him. Just try to remain optimistic. We don't always get to choose what happens to us. But we do get to choose the little things, like what we eat and how we respond to the things life throws our way. I hope that one day, you too will recognize the power of something as small...
I'll do my best. You bid farewell to the woman, and continue your journey further into the city.
No. Ok.
As you venture further into the city, the streets appear largely empty. An elderly woman walks past. You see her shake her head as she puts away her wrinkled wallet. A nearby merchant folds his arms and gives you a disdainful look. You get the impression that he's someone who has long gotten used to the sight before him.
No. Ah no, dovevamo parlare con lui.
Although he doesn't seem very friendly, merchants are usually a good source of information.
Pardon me, sir. I'd like to ask a question if I may.
That depends. How much are you willing to pay?
How about this much?
What do you take me for? Some lowly beggar? You can't even buy half an onion with that.
Surely an onion can't be that expensive.
What do you know? War's nearly upon us. Everything costs several times what it did before. If you're not gonna buy anything, then...
Whoa, what a nasty guy. Maybe we shouldn't even bother talking to him.
But he still might have information we need. Traveler, can you think of something?
Usa persuasione, Navia. Linei, tocca a te. Furina, usa esibizione. Non lo so. Non so se fare persuasione o esibizione. Usiamo persuasione?
Sir, we came to this city to solve the very problem you seem to be referring to. The war you mentioned. If you happen to be well informed and know a thing or two about what's going on, we'd appreciate it if you could share that information with us.
Well, things are basically as you said, young lady. Those monsters are camped outside the city, and they've been destroying all our trade routes. We have limited reserves within the city, so if this continues, we're all gonna be in big trouble.
Wait, you're saying no one has put a plan in place to distribute supplies or maintain order?
We could all starve, and those nobles in the palace wouldn't even break a sweat. Who knows? Maybe they've been in cahoots with the monsters all along.
That is concerning.
All right. That's all the information you need, right? Off with you now. I've still got business to do.
You know, if you smiled a little more, you'd definitely get more business. And I bet that would make your life just a little bit sweeter.
Ok.
Should we try to go somewhere with more people?
Oh,
Chi?
how about the city square? Follow me.
Ah, là? Una ragazza. Non si sa chi è, ma è una ragazza. Ah, dove c'è la fontana che non c'è.
Before you lies the city's central square. You see a man with a slightly anxious look on his face, pacing back and forth, his head hanging low. He doesn't seem to notice your approach, Still immersed in his own thoughts, he shakes his head and lets out a long sigh.
This guy seems promising enough. Hello, sir. Is there anything
Wait, you're...
I'm...
Oh, dear goodness! You're Amara Shose...
You recognize us? Ah, are you one of the people?
Yes, yes! Oh, I didn't expect you to actually come.
What happened here?
Alas, we once lived comfortable, carefree lives. This city used to be free of monsters. The first Marashose hunter... However, monsters have once again surrounded the city. Perhaps the seal that kept them at bay has lost its power. Or perhaps an evil sorcerer has been meddling in our affairs.
Are there not enough soldiers to...
It's not a question of numbers. The guards simply have no idea how to deal... Most people my age have never even seen one of the monsters, much less been trained to fight against them. What's worse, many of us don't even know the history of the Marashose hunters anymore. When I was a child, though, my grandfather would tell me stories about how the Marashose hunters drove back the monsters. So, on the off chance that something... To be perfectly honest, I was starting to think all those stories were just tall tales. But now that I've seen you in person, I finally know that it was true!
Well, you can rest easy, friend. The righteous and formidable Marashose hunters are on the case.
The man is touched by your determination and resolve. His eyes begin to well with tears.
Still, if we are going to hunt the monsters, we need to know where to find them.
All I know is that the area outside the city is dangerous. I'm afraid I can't point you toward a specific location. Oh, although, if you leave the capital through the main gate and follow the road, you should run into a group of guards. They might know more about where to find the monsters.
I see. We'll go look for them then.
All right, be careful. Oh, and one last thing. The monsters outside the city are just part of the problem. There are evil sorcerers. They're actively working with the monsters, and have corrupted the court ministers with malicious magic. They're the reason why even one of our kindest ministers has turned into a boorish and unreasonable figure, interested in nothing but enacting laws that exploit the people.
Talk about being stuck between a rock and a hard place.
I feel bad for him. Maybe we should try to cheer him
Potrei
up.
cucinargli qualcosa, Furina potrebbe cantargli una canzone. Ma dai, facciamo fare qualcosa a Furina, dai.
Like, now? Is this really the right time?
Infatti.
I appreciate your kindness, but for now, it's more important to focus on the crisis at hand. Brave hunters, I leave the future of this kingdom to you.
Sì, infatti sono le carte.
Sì,
If I understood correctly, there are currently two
Però
problems
invece
in the
del
kingdom
dado
that
ci
need
sono
solving,
il
right?
destinometro, là, come cavolo si chiama? Il destinometro.
Exactly. We need to defeat the monsters outside the city and take down the evil sorcerer
Quindi
stirring
adesso
up
devo fare
trouble.
un po' di combattimento anche.
Which problem should we...
Well, this seems like a good moment for a break. Take some time and discuss what you want to do.
I really didn't expect the people in the city to keep us at arm's length like that. I totally thought the hunters would be treated like heroes.
Well, Clarence said the script took cues from the real history of Fontaine, right? Maybe the real-life Marashose hunters were also...
I wouldn't say it's a perfect representation of history, but there are definitely some similarities.
Sure. As long as it doesn't spoil anything in the script. You brought up bits and pieces of the hunter's history before, but it was all in passing.
Paimon wants to know too! The hunters were super powerful, right?
Es
Were they all from a special line of supernatural beings or something? Kind of like the yokai in Inazuma?
No. All Marashose hunters were ordinary mortal fighters. The only thing that set them apart were the special sword techniques passed down over the centuries.
Huh? So you mean anyone could become a Marashose hunter?
In theory, yes. All you would need to do is survive the rigorous training and master the swordsmanship techniques required to fight the monsters. Still, most people dropped out at the early stages, and others called it quits the minute they saw a monster in person. To become a hunter, you must be strong in both body and mind.
What kind of monsters did the hunters fight exactly? Oh, and the evil sorcerer the script mentions.
The land of Fontaine once played host to an ancient dynasty known as Remuria. After that dynasty fell, monsters began to appear, intent on obstructing humans from establishing a new social order. One of the ancient sorcerers of Remuria used his power to assemble a formidable army of golems. He sought to use that force to establish himself as king.
Now, wait a second. Don't tell me that guy was the inspiration for the evil sorcerer in the script. We still haven't found any in-game information on him yet.
Well, I wasn't planning on going into anything you might be able to find out in the game. But if you want me to talk about something else, then... How about Casiodor, the Golden Hunter? Or Egeria, the ex-Hydroarchon?
Wait, but those people are all from a super long time ago. Where did you learn all this, Claran?
From my master.
Huh. By master, you mean Miss Petronia?
Someone you know?
Absolutely. Miss Petronia and my father were good friends. Back in the day, she would often bring Clorand over to play, but then...
Let's not get off topic. Responding to Egeria's call, a number of warriors followed Casiodor into battle against the monsters. This group of warriors, under Casiodor's leadership, became... Yet, as Fontaine entered an era of peace, their work gradually became obsolete. The Marechaussee Phantom, originally an association made up of hunters.
Ah, I see. That explains why most of the people in the script have forgotten the hunters.
Is that really a bad thing, though? It can get tough always being the one shouldering everyone's
Depends on who you ask, I suppose. If the name of the organization no longer commands respect, investigative work...
Speaking of investigations, which problem should we tackle first? Monsters or evil sorcerer?
I vote monsters. That's the main duty of the hunters, right? We can come back to the sorcerer later.
Well said, Miss Farina. Plus, if the sorcerers really are the masterminds behind this whole thing, defeating the monsters could give us some clues on their intentions as well.
What about you, partner? What do you think?
Ma cominciamo dai mostri.
It's decided then.
All right.
Ok.
After
si
some
ripre-
discussion, you decide to turn around and head out.
Carina sta storia fatta così.
Infatti, è la Dungeon and Dragon. Io non so se ci farei veramente una partita vera a sto gioco. Non so se sarei
Let's take a
portata.
look around, like that guy said.
You there! Outsiders, halt!
Who's there?
An armored man approaches you. He has a tall, muscular build and a determined expression in his eyes. Although he's trying his best to conceal his current state, his uneven gait and the sweat dripping down his forehead make it... I'm the captain of the guard. I saw you sneaking around the city earlier, so I'll only ask this once. State your purpose, or it's off to the dungeons for the lot of you.
Wow, it's been a while since someone's been this suspicious of us.
I said talk, not whisper between yourselves.
Have you ever heard of the Marechaussee Hunters?
Marechaussee hunters? Ha! That fairy tale, you mean? What?
Contiamo su di te, Navia. Voglio usare cognizione per capire a cosa sta pensando. Boh. Usiamo cognizione. Vediamo se è la scelta giusta.
While everyone is talking, you begin to carefully observe the captain's mannerisms. Every so often, you see him glance toward a particular direction, with a pained expression on his face, as if an invisible thread is tying him to an... As you follow his gaze, you vaguely recall that the location he seems fixated on is known for its difficult terrain.
Wait, is that where the monsters are? Outside the forest, in the area with the difficult terrain?
The captain is taken aback by your sudden question. Still, his shock only lends credence to you. You're looking to fight the monsters?
Well, we're Marechaussee hunters after all.
He shakes his head, and continues to regard you with skepticism. In the end, he decides those monsters aren't easy to deal with. But if you insist on going, I won't stop you. I just hope all the guards will be able to come back to their families alive. I wish you the best of luck.
Based on what the captain said, the monster should be right up ahead. Let's go. Hopefully we're not too late.
As you approach the battlefield, you see numerous people lying by the side of the road. They appear to be dressed like guards. Their faces are filled with desperation and terror. Some are screaming and cursing in vain, as if still trying to banish the monstrosities they saw from their minds. A few of the wounded look up at you in shock and disbelief. Quick, leave this place. Turn around and don't look back, they yell.
Infatti,
This is the place he mentioned, right?
perché ci sono anche i
You
graffiti.
see broken iron swords scattered all around you, and downed trees riddled with all the signs point to one thing. A truly devastating battle.
Be on your guard, everyone. The monsters might still be around.
Before you can finish your sentence, you hear rustling sounds from the surrounding bushes. The monsters have emerged.
Cioè, quelli lì in azzurro
They close in
sono
on you
i-
without fear. You get the impression that, in their bloodthirsty eyes, you're just another meal for...
A little help here. This thing wants to eat Paimon.
Your battle round begins.
Pesca una carta. Questa. 8, 15. Ok. Sì.
A proper send-off from Messina with love.
A round of applause!
Let my name echo in song!
Yoo-hoo!
The next battle round begins now.
Sì.
Watch out!
Te lo dico. Consigliare. Ah, ok.
The monsters let out a terrifying roar of anger and resentment before dissipating into...
Ugh. Thank goodness it's over.
We're lucky the Marashose Hunter class came with all those preset skill points. Otherwise, we would have been in some real trouble.
I never knew the photometer even determines the amount of damage you inflict. If you get unlucky.
That's part of the fun. The uncertainty of...
Just as you begin to celebrate your victory, a suspicious lump on the ground catches your attention.
A suspicious lump. Wait, could it be the thing?
I walk up to it, crouch down, and begin to carefully examine it. I've still got my right glove on, so it should be fine for me to touch it.
As you investigate the mound, you discover that the exposed portion appears to be made of wood. With the monsters gone, the small protrusion now awaits your discovery, poking out of the ground like a shy flower bud.
Whoa, it's a treasure chest!
Disotterriamolo. Dissotterriamo.
Sono esperti in questo.
Infatti.
Infatti poi non l'ha detto quello che compare nella battaglia.
With everyone's help, you successfully excavate the wooden chest from the ground.
Buongiorno pensatore, buongiorno, come va?
Even without opening it, you can tell from the mora and jewels scattered around the chest.
Makes sense. We worked hard for this. Let's open it and we can share what's inside.
I can understand your excitement, Paimon, but think about it. Doesn't it seem like there are people out there?
Yeah. Think about all the people suffering in the capital. Or all those guards who got hurt fighting them.
Wait, is that how it works? Paimon thought since we were the ones to dig it up, we could just take it for ourselves.
Well, let's put it this way. Any decision you make during a role-playing game,
But would the people really believe us? It's hard enough for us to prove we're Marcia Say hunters. What if they think we procured the treasure illegally? They might...
That's definitely something we should consider. Maybe we can come up with an explanation in advance.
Well, if donating it could cause that much trouble, why don't we use it to buy some gear and fill up on good food? Then we'll be ready to fight even more bad guys.
Looks like you're facing a difficult choice once again. Well, it's getting late. Why don't we call it a day for now?
Wow! Where did the time go?
I'm not sure if it's because I'm having so much fun with you all, or because the story is particularly enticing.
Here, here. Ooh, how about we play
Tutta la
through the
notte.
night?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, that won't work for me either. Lynette will give me an earful if I get home.
I understand how you feel, Navia, but we have to change venues for the next part of the story anyway.
Huh? Another location?
There's a special note for the GM at the end of this section that says to proceed to an indoor set.
Whoa. They really pulled out all the stops for this new script.
Well, even if we end the game for the day, we can still stay a little longer and hear Cloran finish her story, right? Paimon wants to hear more about the history of the hunters.
Something tells me you just want to finish the free desserts before we
That's just a coincidence, okay? Besides, to Paimon, not finishing free food feels even worse than having to buy her own. And anyway, Paimon really does want to hear more about Cloran's master.
Well,
Se la storia non finisce bene, va bene anche non finirla.
It's nothing. I appreciate the concern, but it's all in the past. My earliest memories are of living with Master. According to her, she saved me from certain people of ill repute. My birth parents had left me behind some...
What a heavy beginning for a life story.
Master was a fascinating individual. If inexperienced in the ways of raising children. My first ever toy was a short sword. Although I suppose it wasn't so much a toy as something Master removed from her waist and handed to a noisy child in need of distraction.
Così tu dai una bambina una spada.
Oh, wait, so she
Sembra giusto.
handed an actual sword to a child? Isn't that dangerous?
Of course I did. I cut my palm and bled quite a lot. But Master was not concerned. See, that's what you get for not holding the sword properly,
Sì, ma
she
non
told
gliela
me.
dai nemmeno una spada.
She then crouched down next to me and said, "Give me your hand. I'll teach you to bandage this wound."
Excuse me for asking this, Clorand, but how old were you?
Probably around 3, give or take.
Noi non ci abbiamo mai pensato.
3? Isn't that when most kids are still struggling to hold a fork?
Brava, Furina.
As I said, Master was rather inexperienced in the ways of raising children.
Sì, no? Che deve
She believed
uccidere.
trial and error was the best way to teach a child what they're capable of.
I'm not so sure this is a question of
Ecco,
experience.
bravo.
I didn't see
capito.
anything wrong with her ways at the time. And anyway, children don't get to choose how they're raised. Oh, she did bring me back a pet from Liyue once. It was a Geovishap
Pure.
hatchling.
Sai che cavolo.
A Geovishap hatchling? For a pet? That seems even more dangerous.
Cioè, ma come è stata cresciuta Clorina?
What she said was this: make sure to get along, you
Ah,
two.
certo,
If you really
certo.
can't agree on something, just settle it with a fight. Whoever loses is the real pet.
Dovevamo comprare anche noi un leone. Perché non ci abbiamo pensato? Avevo pensato ai cani, non a un leone.
Perde l'animale da compagnia, ce la vedi Clorinda col guinzaglio.
Sì, sì, certo.
And how old were you when this
Sentiamo.
happened?
5.
Certo.
Well, did you win?
No, I lost.
Ecco.
So you're saying you actually became the Geovishap's pet?
Yes, but only for a week.
Che cavolo?
By the end of that week, I defeated it in combat. and we've shared a cordial relationship ever since.
That really doesn't sound like the kind of childhood someone should have.
Ma vero?
Later on, I gradually understood that Master most likely didn't know any other way to raise a child. She was a Marachose hunter, but I never heard her bring up her own parents. Thanks to her, I learned how to navigate the forest by the age of 6, and could hunt monsters in the wild by myself the year after that.
E sti cavoli.
Even though the training she subjected me to was strict, she always made sure to take me traveling when she had the time. We met many of her friends during those days. That was also how I met Mr. Callis and his family.
I still remember the first time we met. You were too scared to join our picnic and hid behind Ms. Petronia the whole time.
I still hadn't really met many children my age at that time.
After that, though, you started coming over a lot. You loved challenging people to shooting competitions, remember? I don't think many members of the Spina ever beat you in one of those.
I had a lot of fun during those days.
I enjoyed them too. Oh, do you remember that one time we went exploring around the Spina together? We overheard Papa call your master Fun. We tried to pretend like we never heard anything, but you nearly let it slip that one time.
Protector of justice. Oh, wait, you mean that vigilante hero from 20 years ago?
Yep, that would be her. She often would put on a black cloak and go out at night. I never knew where she went or what she was doing. Until, like Navia said, we overheard the truth from Mr. Callis that
20 years ago, huh? I still remember the guards leaving all kinds of witness reports about her on Nervalette's death.
My apology.
Oh, there's no need to apologize. You had nothing to do with it. Although, calling herself the Protector of Order was a bit much. Especially when she deliberately operated outside.
Huh? When did the Protector of Justice become the Protector of Order?
Oh, she had a bunch of code names. I heard she would just come up with a name on the spot whenever she was asked. Later on, she probably got sick of answering those questions and decided to stick to just two. The Protector of Justice and the...
That sounds like her, all right. I bet she forgot which of the two she'd use by the time she got back each night.
Well, she certainly sounds like a fascinating individual. With her strong sense of justice, it's no surprise her
It's true. I always wanted to become like her. Someone powerful, independent, and with a strong sense of conviction.
But...
She suddenly disappeared the night I turned 10 years old.
Disappeared? What happened?
I have no idea. She didn't even leave a note. That night, I was celebrating my birthday at Navia's house. But Master never came to pick me up. When I returned home on my own, it was to an empty house.
No, che quella persona era scomparsa.
Quale persona?
Quella là. Quella lì. Una cosa lì. No, come si chiama? Quello della giustizia, dell'ordine. Quello che ne ho parlato finora.
Sì.
La cacciatrice lì. Della notte. Dice che il giorno del suo 10° compleanno è sparita.
Perché era la sua maestra?
Sì, era lei.
Me l'aveva detto già prima.
Ah, ok. Sì, sì.
When she still didn't appear after a few days, I went to Mr. Callis's house to ask about her whereabouts. But he only shook his head.
Papa probably didn't know either. I know he sent a few people to investigate the matter in secret, but...
Don't worry, I understand. To be perfectly honest, given Master's personality and way of doing things, it all made a lot of sense. Just like how, when a litter of kittens reaches a certain age...
Were you upset, Clorinde?
I was at first, but not anymore. I don't believe Master would suddenly disappear.
Well, despite everything, you still managed to follow in her footsteps and become the greatest champion duelist in all of Fontaine. You're practically a living symbol of law and justice.
I suspect my position would be far too by the books for her. Master always did whatever she pleased.
Who knew Clorinde had such an interesting past? I never had the chance to ask her about it before. And I wonder if Clorian's master were the champion duelist back then. Would that duel against Mr. Callus have gone differently? Oh no. Judging by the atmosphere, Clorian and Navi are probably thinking something similar. The mood just got super awkward all of
Well, anyway. Would you look at the time? It's getting dark, so we should probably call it a day for real this.
I had a great time today, Miss Clorant. Thank you for being our GM.
Anytime.
The script was good, but I've got to say, your childhood stories were even better. Hey, you should tell us more about that fight against the Geo-Bishop sometime. Maybe your master was onto something.
You could be right.
What does she mean, onto something? I certainly don't know any 5-year-olds who want to fight a bishop in their spare time. Guess I'll head back as well. I need to save my energy if I want to continue enjoying the story tomorrow.
You're that excited to hear about my fight with the bishop?
I was talking about the script.
Ok. Poi questo evento, aspetta. Domani, no, oggi. Fasi 1 e 3.
No. Domani.
Domani, sì. Il 7, non il 6. Quindi domani comincia questa qua. Scenari di difesa, scenari. E questo è evento simulazione. Non mi ricordo cos'era questo. Vabbè, poi domani lo vedremo. Qua non ho preso più. Ok. Allora, dalle 8 alle 10.
Va bene, tanto il tempo passa in fretta.
Sì, lo so. C'ho le 9 e non ci pensiamo più, va.
The world remains constant over this
Let's go meet up with the group! Paimon's really looking forward to today's story.
transitory.
Ah, dall'altra parte del mondo si sono spostati. Sì, la location è cambiata. E io l'ho appena messo. No, che oggi ho messo la maglietta.
Inactivity serves no purpose whatsoever.
Quello della scuola. E vabbè, tanto Lorenzo ha finito.
Quella della scuola.
Quella che gli hanno regalato a Natale.
Non me la ricordo.
Ah, però io l'ho messa stamattina, poi la vedi, hanno detto, ah, da lunedì fatti indossare a tutti quella maglietta. Beh, Lorenzo ha già finito. L'ha messa prima lui. Sì, sì, sì. Poi oggi quando torno a casa te la faccio vedere. Ah, ok. Sì, infatti. Queste cose strane.
Looks like everyone's here. Now, before we begin, why don't we finish where we left off yesterday? There was an important decision to be made, yes?
Is that really the most important part, though, Clorant? Have you walls, cold railings, dim lights? This is obviously supposed to be
I admire the work put into the set. Still, it's obvious the scriptwriter has never paid a visit to the fortress of...
So this set is going to be a part of the script?
Unfortunately, that is something I can neither confirm...
kinda...
Well, whatever happens, we'll just have to push on. But first, we should really figure out what to do. If we're worried about arousing suspicion because of our identity, why don't we give ourselves a different name?
Yeah, it might be better to keep a low profile. As long as we're helping people, it doesn't matter who.
Staring at me won't get you anywhere. Or did you want some more tea?
Oh, Paimon's good. Hey, why aren't you saying anything, Navia? Wait, what's that next to you?
Oh, this is the short sword Cloran mentioned last night. I found it.
Huh. I'm surprised you managed to track it down after all.
Well, I made sure to take good care of it, considering the circumstances in which you gave it to me. Of course I had to keep it safe. Anyway, where were we? Oh, right. I was just thinking about all the potential ways for us to break out of prison.
Wait, we haven't been thrown into prison yet, have we?
Well, it's only a matter of time. It pays to be prepared. Just like how you should always have an umbrella on hand.
Alright, Paimon's made up her mind. Paimon may have wanted to keep it, but if it's going to land us in prison somehow, Paimon will be too upset to enjoy her snacks.
A quanto pare Paimon tiene più agli spuntini che ai tesori. Paimon si sta evolvendo come personaggio.
So, you've reached an agreement? All right then, we can...
Oh, and we'll collect all the scattered pieces of treasure on the ground as well.
All right. You collect the treasure and make your way back to the capital with your bag of loot in hand.
No.
The city is
comunque
still
lunga.
shrouded in a gloomy, oppressive atmosphere. But your spirits are surprisingly high in places where sunlight struggles to reach. You generously share your wealth with the children, the elderly, and the poor in urgent need of help. Thank you, kind soul. The elderly woman's look of gratitude follows you as you walk away, her eyes never leaving your back until you move entirely out of sight.
She's probably trying to tell us to speed this up. We need to hurry up so we can address the sorcerer problem.
Should we go find that man again at the square? He seemed like a pretty responsible guy. I'm sure he knows the people here far better than us.
Oh, good idea!
Just as you start to make way to the square, intent on finding the man again,
Ok, fa lei.
Please wait, distinguished guests. Several strange guards suddenly call out to you. They run forward to meet you and proceed to politely pay their respects.
Greetings, gentlemen. Are we being invited for after?
Surely you jest, my lady. That would not be our place. It is His Excellency the King who requests to meet with you.
Dice il re lui.
Do you think this could be a trap?
Well, we have to investigate the court at some point, right? Meeting the king himself would be a fantastic...
I say we go for it. If something happens, we'll just turn the...
That sounds a little intense.
After a quick discussion, you nod to the guards and agree to follow. They lead you all the way to the audience hall of the palace. Gilded tables line both sides of the hall. The space itself is adorned with all manner of expensive antiques, glass shelves, and silver candlesticks. The items appear quite ordinary in size and dimension.
Wow, it's so luxurious!
The elderly king, clad in a magnificent robe, sits upon the deep crimson throne. He wears above his head a majestic crown, with a gemstone the size of a bird's egg set right at the very front. As you observe it, you see a complex pattern of light reflect. They're here, Your Majesty. A man dressed in dark clothes, likely a minister, shields his mouth with his hands and bends down to whisper a few words. After a moment, he lowers his hands and stands back up. His gaze shifts to fixate on your group.
The king does not appear entirely aware of his surroundings. The man by his side, though.
Mi sa che a
We
parte
should keep a
loro
close
non
eye on
vedono
him.
altri personaggi nel
The
gioco.
king remains still and says nothing. The minister is the... Esteemed guests, allow me to thank you for coming to our faraway kingdom. Unfortunately, His Majesty the King finds himself quite exhausted from... I've heard tell that your group the Marechaussee hunters, used your exceptional ability with the sword to repel the monsters near the capital. Such a great deed it is. However, seeing that I was not fortunate enough to observe such a feat with my own eyes, you'll forgive me for seeking to verify the truth.
Well, we've got nothing to hide. You brought us here to talk, right? So we'll just explain. The golem's blades were so powerful, they could cut down trees in a single swipe. It took a lot of effort to defeat them, even for trained swordsmen like us. Well, that was enough details, right? Believe us now?
Your account does indeed match those of the survivors. Since you were the ones who defeated the monsters, that must mean you.
Well, we did take the
How did he know about the treasure?
Then I must ask that you return it at once.
Wait, but didn't you just say that our great deed deserved a reward? Shouldn't the treasure be considered a part of that?
Yes, that was indeed what I said. Only that which is freely given by the king can be considered a reward. Taking the rightful wealth of a kingdom without said permission.
But that's completely unreasonable.
Yeah, that makes no sense! If it weren't for us, the treasure would still be buried underground somewhere.
Maybe so, yet the fact remains. You tried to dispose of the treasure without reporting it to the court. What, no answer? Surely you're not insinuating that you, a group of legendary Marechaussee hunters...
Well, what about the king? Is he just gonna let this guy talk for him the whole time?
Clad in his magnificent robe, the king remains seated, with his hands resting on either side of the throne. His posture is rigid and unmoving.
From the look of things, could the Prime Minister be the evil sorcerer? Or could both the...
I would like to observe the number of guards stationed.
The guards in the palace appear fully armed, their expressions solemn. Sensing the tense atmosphere in the room, they stand at the ready, each with a hand placed upon...
There goes my plan to turn the whole place upside down, I guess.
It appears we've been visited by nothing more than a group of ill-intentioned imposters. What a pity. Before I decide your fate, however, I must first determine whether you have any accomplices outside the...
Can't we try to slip away? Or maybe start some kind of riot?
But if we try to fight the guards right now...
Don't worry. At least we figured out who's behind all this. Let's just play it by ear. If you're scared, Paimon,
Prendi anche
just
la
hold
mia
my
se
hand.
vuoi.
Aw, thanks, you guys.
You allow yourself to be led away by guards surrounding you on both. It's only when you begin to feel drops of water falling from the dungeon ceiling and smell the stench of death and decay all around you that you finally realize you... Stay here and don't try anything funny. The guards lock the cell door and leave without looking back.
Wait, sir!
Your voice echoes through the dark hall, but the only response you receive...
No! What should we do now?
Carve out a new path of fate with our own two hands, of course. I draw my weapon.
You reach toward your waist, but find nothing there. You now recall that your weapons were confiscated before the guards locked you in the...
What about that knife I hid in my boot?
When did you hide it in there?
When I was thinking about digging a tunnel.
No,
Rejected. You failed to inform the GM of this course of action. Moreover, the guards would have conducted a thorough search before throwing you in prison.
And the keys to the cell aren't anywhere to be seen?
Correct. You don't even feel a lock hole on the cell door.
Oh, well, there goes all our plan.
Indeed.
Huh? Why are you the one saying indeed?
Because that statement holds true for me as well. This is where the script ends.
What? But that's a terrible ending!
infatti.
Generally speaking, this should be the point where the scriptwriter gives the players some kind of hint.
I mean, maybe they just really wanted us to be immersed in the feeling of being in prison. Like, they'll only show us the way out once we've grown
That is a possibility.
If only there were desserts and tea in real prison. Oh, wait, guess it's kind of how the Fortress of Meripede works if you're lucky.
Oh, before I forget, Navia, the short sword you had with you earlier, I took a closer look, And the craftsmanship doesn't appear to resemble anything from this era. If I remember correctly, that style was
Wait, Cloran said that sword used to belong to her master, right? Does that mean her master has been alive?
I doubt it. The way she went about things often made her seem childish more than anything.
Hang on. A precious heirloom passed down to you by your master. And you gave it to me just like...
Master left many things to me when she disappeared. There was the sword, an old key, and a good amount of junk she probably just didn't want to take with her. I gave you the sword back then, because I didn't want our friendship to end.
Wait, when did this happen exactly?
After the duel. Between Mr. Callis and my...
Before that, Clorand would have meals with us and even stay over at the Spina some days. She was on great terms with Papa as well. After the duel, though, there was a period of time where we simply didn't know how to face each other. We were both sad and conflicted and totally overthinking. Whenever I looked at this sword, I couldn't help but wonder if Miss Petronia had never introduced us to each other at that picnic. Back then, it felt like I hadn't just lost a father, but a close friend as well.
No one can change the past. The most important thing is that you two found your way back to each other and can...
Yep, you're right.
I'm sorry, you two. I didn't mean to bring up...
Think nothing of it.
Foglie applicate. E da dove arriva?
Looks like the next part of our script is here.
Perfect timing. The situation was
From Claren's face, Paimon really can't tell if it's good news or bad news.
Non per niente è una GM esperta. Game Master. Mantenere un'espressione impassibile è una vera e propria abilità.
Water continues to drip from the ceiling. In this lightless dungeon, eventually, you get used to the unpleasant odor of straw, mold, and rust, and find yourselves alternating between fits of... Suddenly, you hear footsteps outside the door.
Heads up, everyone. Someone's coming.
Gather close, everyone, and keep your voice down.
Who are you?
I work as a guard in these dungeons, but my true identity is the same as your own.
Huh?
Shh. I've already sent away the other guards, but if we make too much noise...
I understand, but how can we be sure we can trust you?
The king has issued a formal decree. In light of the irrefutable proof of your crime, you're to be executed before tomorrow's sunrise. If you want to escape, it has to be now.
Executed? We barely did anything!
Monsters appearing at the same location as the treasure. Could this entire thing have...
There will be time for speculation once we're out of here. As for my identity, I have no way to prove that to you just yet. Infiltrating the capital was difficult, and finding a chance to speak with you has taken a lot out of me. I could go on, but I think we can all agree that now is not the time for details.
Beh, non è che abbiamo molta altra scelta.
Have you seen our weapons anywhere, sir?
Don't worry, I brought them with me. They're just behind the door. Still, these weapons alone won't be enough to defeat his faction is too powerful. The guards are all under his control, and he's even stationed a number of golems in various rooms throughout To defeat him, you must find a secret vault. It is said that within that vault, the Marechaussee hunters of the past left behind a treasure with the power to...
You're not coming with us?
No, I'll remain in the dungeons to deal with the guards. I'll try my best to distract them so they don't go after you. As long as my identity is not revealed, I'll be able to aid you when the final battle comes.
In that case, please stay safe.
Thank you for your concern. I will do my utmost. As for the location of the vault, here, this map should lead you there.
Got it.
Quello è il levante.
All right, once I open the door, remember to stick close and refrain from making any noise. You now have the chance to restore the honor and legacy of the Mara Shosei hunters. So please, get out there and reclaim and be sure to exercise caution.
With the help of the guard, you successfully escape the dungeons. Your sense of despair and anxiety both...
Wait, we didn't get to use our skills at all while we were in prison. Who knows when we're gonna get the chance to use that cool summon spell?
That is a pity, but we can only continue to move forward.
Non lo so, chissà. Di che devo fare?
Qui c'è una cosa strana.
Dove?
Tipo questa grotta. Chiusa.
Questa? Ah, bravo.
This should be the place marked on the map.
This bit of rock certainly looks suspicious.
Well, I'd say an investigation's in order then. Plus, if all else fails,
Wow, you really meant that.
Before you lies a serene stretch of open water, its surface shimmering a
Well, guess this means it's time for...
Ah, ok, ci sono i cerchi.
Ah, ecco perché le immagini, perché siamo molto
Ok, siamo arrivati.
What's the matter?
It's nothing. As you step into the cave, you find yourself in an eerily quiet space.
Un rebus.
Wow, this must be where the...
But this door is blocking our way in. Huh. It almost looks like it's been here for quite some time.
huh? What have we got down here? A kind of mechanism connected to the door?
A pattern on a stone door. That's something Master mentioned before.
Is something wrong?
After a long, difficult journey, you finally arrive at the location indicated by your map. Your surroundings are exceedingly quiet and serene, as if the secret that slumbers here has never once been disturbed. If you listen closely,
Tu dici che
you can
magari alla
almost
fine della
convince yourself
storia
you can hear the sound of its calm, gentle breathing.
finiva con la cella. Chiunque gli ha portato il continuo non è l'organizzatore del gioco, capito?
Ah,
Quindi ora loro
ok.
stanno continuando non sul set del gioco, ma
Fuori.
nella storia.
That description makes
Attenzione.
Paimon feel kind of bad for disturbing this place.
We're doing this for the sake of the people, to free them from the evil sorcerer. I say it's time for this treasure to once again see
Linny's right. We need to keep going. The future of the king. The next part of the story requires us to solve the puzzle, right?
Yes, that should be... Something feels off about all this.
Infatti lei
Guess I'll just have to improvise.
perché non fa parte del gioco.
No. Allora. Questo in teoria è facile. E non ho niente.
Ah no, perché ti manca il... Che è lì.
Vedi?
Però devi sbloccarlo. No, ma questo lasciamo qui.
I found something.
E non riesco, non me lo fa posare.
Found something
Ah,
here
okay.
too.
Ok. la fanno?
Same here.
3 ore. No, ce l'abbiamo fatta. Ce l'abbiamo fatta. Ora si aprono, si accendono tutte. Eh. Infatti non capisco cosa
It
devo fare.
worked.
Something just appeared. Some kind of new mechanism, maybe?
By solving the puzzles, you prove yourselves worthy of at the end of each puzzle, you're rewarded with
With?
a key.
Oh, it must be the key to the big door.
This is one of the Marechaussee Hunter keys that are passed down from generation to generation. It is said that 4 keys in total are required to form the final, complete key. And it seems...
What's wrong?
You hear a few strange noises. Suddenly, all the torches in the ruin go out at once.
What's going on? Did we fall into it?
For the sake of immersion, please close your eyes, everyone. Without the torches, the space is now...
But Paimon can still see a little bit over here.
Paimon, non rovinare l'immersione degli altri nella
Oh,
storia.
right. Sorry.
Suddenly, you hear the sound of footsteps pierce through the...
There's someone else here. Oh, this is so unsettling.
I've been discovered then.
Wait, that voice, it's...
You recognize the voice as belonging to the guard who led you to this place. It appears he now covets the treasure for himself.
Oh, so this is just part of the script. Then I can Well, if we can't see anything, that means we can't fight to the fullest of our abilities.
Judging by the way he's holding his sword, he must be a real Marechaussee hunter.
Retreat! That's not the hunter way.